So a little bit about the margin, but Adelaide, they stood strong.
Fucking bullshit!
I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. That's my reaction from this loss against Adelaide here. This is the round one review. Collingwood's 14-point loss to Adelaide Saturday night, the MCG. Collingwood going down by 14 points, 11-13, 79 to Adelaide, 13-15, 93. I got home. I was planning on doing a quick round one review and then uploading it Sunday morning very early. But then just couldn't get the words out, to be honest. I joined Mick's live stream, Magpies Army Chronicles. Subscribe to his channel, like his stuff. Very good live streams as well, for the matter. Even though I joined for the first time last night and only said like 7 words throughout the entire stream, which was more of an output compared to most of our Collingwood players here against Adelaide. I hope to join future live streams. So shout out to Mick at Magpies Army Chronicles and everyone else that joined, for the matter. Yeah, this is the round one review. I'll do my best to get through it as much as I can. My voice is better here compared to last night, but I've got a throbbing headache right now, so I'll do my best to get through it. To say about this game, it was ugly. It was just an ugly watch, an ugly performance from us in particular. The first half was scrappy. I couldn't put the words to our win over St Kilda. I just said it was a professional win. That was being optimistic, positive, whatever. First half against Adelaide, very scrappy. And our forward 50 entries were just shocking in that first quarter. It was shocking for the entire game. Just no cohesion, no chemistry, no synergy, no output, no nothing. And this goes to Buller, McStay, Membry. And I'm going to throw Jamie Elliott in this as well. He's not a key forward, but less than 75% game time. He's an impact player, and he had no impact at all. He was just a body out there, to be honest. Even though he kicked a goal, he keeps trying. Like, we know what we get from Jamie Elliott, but it's pretty clear that we need to tinker around with this forward line. We went smaller in the last quarter and it worked, but it's not going to work for 4 quarters, to be honest. So we still need that presence up forward. But if Ben King was watching this game last night, he may be deterred from joining Collingwood. So we need to improve our forward 50 entries. Everything that worked against St Kilda was the opposite against Adelaide. Our forward 50 entries, shocking. Disposal efficiency, shocking. Our back line, it stood up. It tried its best. Thilthorpe kicking 3 goals. Fogarty kicking 2, I believe. 2 set shots. 1 at halftime, 1 in the final quarter. A few other dynamic players up forward. Rochelle was lively at times. Neil Bullen kicking goals as well. We were stretched for height down back. Joel Cochran, I don't think it would have had much of a difference. It would have been someone that held Fogarty or Tex Walker accountable, get him up the ground. He would have been ragdolled against Fogarty or Tex Walker, but it may have allowed Frampton or someone like Quaynor or Maynard to have an intercepting game. The last 2 wins we've had over Adelaide, round 10 last year and the qualifying final, you would have noticed Jeremy Howe intercepting everything in round 10 and Darcy Moore intercepting everything in the qualifying final. Willie Frampton as well in the qualifying final. Frampton, he was held down. He had a better game here compared to the game against St Kilda, but no Howe, no Darcy Moore. Maynard and Quaynor are stretched for height. Perryman was down back. I'm not too sure what we were trying to do there with Perryman. He had a good game in the midfield, tagging Nasiah Wanganeen-Millerer, but didn't have much of an output here. It's not Nasiah Wanganeen-Millerer we should have been worried about. It should have been Wayne Millerer to be worried about. Probably a career best game. We just kept bombing it long inside 50. Someone like Millerer picking up everything. Josh Worrell having a field day in the first quarter, zoning off. It wasn't just Worrell. There was a few other Adelaide defenders as well zoning off. And that's where just the forward half connection, cohesion, whatever, just wasn't there. Even the goals in the second quarter, terrible build-ups. We were zigging and zagging. We were looking inboards. We were looking 3 ways to try and go forward when the goals are just right there. So just, yeah, it's very disappointing. The first half, incredibly scrappy, but the second half, Adelaide comes out swinging and Collingwood were on the back foot for the majority of this game. We were in front for like 2.5 minutes, and that was only for 3 minutes or for 3 points. And then Adelaide got the quick response. Fogarty kicking a goal on the halftime siren to have the lead at halftime. I was hoping, and this is where opening round should have been a benefit to us, Adelaide starting their season, Collingwood already having the runs on the board. I thought, and this is probably me being naive or just thinking too far ahead or maybe being overconfident. Not arrogant, I'll definitely say that. But we should have put Adelaide to the sword in the second half. Instead, it was Adelaide putting us to the sword in the second half. Adelaide did run out of legs in the last quarter, but 250-metre penalties cost us this game. Now, as a Collingwood fan, it's up to you how you interpret that. I think it's on us to interpret the rules. We misinterpreted the rules. 4 50-metre penalties conceded from the stand rule, and it's something we need to learn and improve on. And I said in a comment to someone last week for St Kilda's win that I thought the stand rule would have cost us. We only conceded one against St Kilda, and that was Lockie Schultz early first quarter. Gave away the first goal of that game. We gave away 4 goals. It wasn't direct goals, but it led to goals. Ben Keys kicking the sealer, his first goal against Collingwood. It's weird that he can't play well against us, but he plays well against Carlton. But now it's the opposite now. But I've singled out the forward line for being shocking in this game, but it was the midfield and lesser extent the back line that cost us this game. In terms of the stats, minus 22 in disposals, minus 25 in contested possessions. Now, in this day and age, 2026, it's not so much the clearances and contested possessions, but it's more so how you use the footy. If you're dynamic, if you're quick, if you put teams to the sword with the pressure, minus 25 in contested possessions. There's 23 players out there. So basically, every Collingwood player against their direct opponent lost the contested possession battle, plus, or an extra 2 for that matter as well. So minus 25. It's unacceptable. And it's also unacceptable with ground ball gets. The ground ball gets. We are just shocking with the ground ball gets. We're conceding lasso rule free kicks from fumbling near the boundary line. We kick it over by accident, and Adelaide make us pay on that. Against North Melbourne in the preseason game, they were much cleaner in those weather or trying conditions. St Kilda were much more cleaner with the ground ball gets, and Adelaide as well. Adelaide playing their first game, I would have thought they would have been a bit fumbly. They were shocking with their kicking in the first half, but it improved after half time. And that's a credit to them and their fitness. They deserve to win this game. But for Collingwood, maybe we are just too old. Maybe we're and maybe lack of discipline as well. And just guys like Nick Dacos, Lockie Schultz, even Will Parker, I saw at times they were very clean uh, below the knees. Everyone else, I don't know, just looks very lackadaisical. Like maybe lazy's too strict or too harsh or whatever. But the clearances, and this is a bit of a hilarious stat, 29 each. But from my eyes, the centre clearances, and we were -7 in -7 centre clearances. I can't even get the words out. I'm playing or speaking like a Collingwood player. I can't even speak properly. Far out. Stoppage clearances +7, but Adelaide's +7 in centre clearances were much more damaging compared to our +7 in stoppage clearances. We lost the overall clearances in the final quarter anyway, but tackles +4. I mean, that's stock standard for us. We're not going to get dominated in the tackles. Inside 50s, 59 to 55, but 10 marks inside 50. So basically, that's 1 in 6 entries with a mark. At 3-quarter time, we had 45 inside 50s for just 4 marks. So that was less than 10%. So it improved in the final quarter. That was because we went smaller and we were able to stretch Adelaide's defence. I was going to say backline, but that just sounds wrong. But Adelaide, 55 inside 50s, 14 marks. So that's just under 25%, or just over 25%. Collingwood 1 in 6, so that's 18%. So yeah, goal efficiency 18% and 23%. So basically, get the mark inside 50, you'll get the goal, you win the game. Yada yada yada. I'm going to single out a few players, not because of their performance, but their first quarters. Ed Allen, Tim Membry, Jamie Elliott, and Rowan Steele. No stats for the entire first quarter. Rowan Steele had a free kick against. That was a push in the back from trying to chase down a defender. But 4 players in the first quarter, no stats. And I'm pretty sure guys like Membry and Parker would have had 1 disposal. Maybe a few players had 2 disposals. I have to double check the quarter by quarter player stats. But yeah, 4 players in the first quarter, no stats. And I can sit here and talk about, drop this player, drop that player. But I think it's just a matter of tinkering around with a few things. The forward line in particular, defensive reinforcement, height down back. But the midfield group, I'm starting to get a little bit worried about because that's 2 times where it's either 50-50 or we just overall lost. St Kilda, whatever, we'll give them a pass mark for that. Against Adelaide, no excuses. When you've got Nick Dacos, Scott Pendlebury, Jordan De Goey, side bottom, Josh Dacos. You'd expect to be calm with these players in the midfield, but every time, particularly that third quarter, they just killed us. And Adelaide they weren't outstanding in the midfield, to be honest. And I'm not trying to take away from their win here, but they did what they had to do. And if you give Adelaide a bit of run, some fitness as well, extra games, extra wins on the board for that matter, play this game in round 12, for example, with that sort of performance, I think Adelaide kill us by about 7+ goals. I did say in my bold prediction that there was going to be a statement win, 24+ points. It wasn't over 4 goals, but Adelaide here was a bit of a statement win. The opening round bounce didn't go our way. Carlton beats Richmond. Hawthorn smashes Essendon. Geelong comes back and beats Freo. And here we are losing to Adelaide. Now, I do have Adelaide in the mix yet again. I don't have them top 4, but I think they can sneak into 5th or 6th and avoid the wildcard round and host an elimination final. I've got Collingwood in the wildcard round. So based off that, I shouldn't be too surprised. I'm trying to keep that perspective as well. Maynard and Quaynor can do what they can with the lack of height against Fogarty, Thilthorpe, Tex Walker. Even then as well, like Quaynor on Thilthorpe, what was that all about? And Frampton, look, he's not an intercepting defender, Frampton. So you can have Quaynor on Thilthorpe. I wouldn't do that personally, but if you have Quaynor on Thilthorpe, surely you've got someone that can intercept well. No Jeremy Howe, no Darcy Moore. There's just no one there. So you can say we could have had Joel Cochran. I still think Reef McInnes coming in later in the season is going to benefit us in the long term compared to someone like Joel Cochran now in the short term. And just going back to the players as well, we had 4 players that didn't register a stat in the first quarter. We had 8 players play 75% game time or less for the entire game. So that's 3/4 of footy or less. Side bottom, Roan Steele, Jamie Elliott, Ned Long, Jack Buller, Ed Allen, Scott Pendlebury, and Dan McStay. I barely saw Dan McStay or even Dan or Jack Buller in the final quarter. Pendlebury, Elliott, side bottom being managed for being old. I didn't like that, particularly for Jamie Elliott. Jamie Elliott is an impact player, so we need more of Jamie Elliott. And yeah, the forward line cohesion needs to improve. Like whether we have to drop someone, does Dan McStay go down back? Does Jack Buller play the pinch hitting role, but he needs to put on size for that matter? Do we bring Oscar Steen in as well? To help out Darcy Cameron in the ruck. It seems like the way to go with the new ruck rules is bring in uh, a second ruck, and that's what I think we could be doing with Oscar Steen. Hopefully debuts soon against GWS after the bye, so 12 days away. Just on the player stats, I thought Dan Houston was our best player. Now, when it's down in Adelaide's forward line for a fair bit, he's going to have a lot of disposals. So Dan Houston, 32 disposals, 10 intercepts, and 5 rebound 50s. And this wasn't a case of us looking for Dan Houston. Dan Houston was getting involved. Now, he likes playing against Adelaide. That's fair enough, being from Port Adelaide, or used to be at Port Adelaide. But Dan Houston, that's 2 very good games in a row. 2 of his best games so far. And I know it's very early, it's March, but the journalists are talking about player movements and free agency and trades and whatnot in March. I could talk about all Australian selections, and Dan Houston might be up there early for all Australian selection. Lockie Schultz, 15 disposals, 2 goals, 8 score involvements, and 5 inside 50 entries. Lockie Schultz tries. He tries. Oh, by the way, he tries. Lockie Schultz from the first quarter to the final quarter kept improving. Someone like Jordan De Goey, not singling him out per se, but Jordan De Goey has a decent first quarter and then tapers off. Lockie Schultz is the opposite of that. I've got Lockie Schultz second best on ground. It's just my personal viewing of it and also just checking the KO mini. Nick Dacos, 33 disposals, 2 goals, a junk time goal, last goal of the game. 8 score involvements, 10 inside 50 entries, but at 63% disposal efficiency. He was off. Still a Nick Dacos game, but not as impactful compared to last week. Lipinski, now it's going to be a bit weird to say this and a bit polarizing, but he had 22 disposals. He had 5 tackles, all in the first half. I am noticing with Lipinski, he's getting more involved in the contest. 8 score involvements and 5 intercepts. He's not as damaging. I wish Lipinski was utilised more like last year. Entries inside 50, finding a target. He's not being used like that this year. So he's just a player on the wing. That's pretty much it. Even though he's getting the disposals, he's not a threat of being dropped or anything like that. But I think there's better usage of Lipinski going forward. Jack Crisp, 24 disposals, 6 score involvements, and a very good goal. Our first goal of the game, that second quarter. I thought he was dynamic at times, Jack Crisp, but very tough to have an impact against Adelaide here. And I had to change or add Roan still here because 2 goals, 2 goal assists, and 6 score involvements. It doesn't scream a lot of stats, but I just thought Roan still kept trying, and he won't get dropped for GWS surely. Again, we can talk about players being dropped and whatnot, but I thought Roan still had a solid game. Ed Allen, uh, he just needs time. I keep saying that, but he needs time. Will Parker, he's solid, but he's not having much of an impact. He's not damaging off halfback, but he keeps trying. I give him that. Ned Long, he'll get tackles, but it's 2026. We need more from our midfielders. Ned Long, he's a good defensive midfielder, tackles, contested ball, but we are moving away from that. But Ned Long, if he's just going to be tackling people for fun, like surely Bo McCreary can do this. Surely other midfielders can be doing this. Jordan De Goey can get himself involved as well, for that matter. Yeah, we need to be more dynamic in the midfield. That's pretty much the summary of our midfield. McAndrew, uh, very good. He didn't dominate, I don't think. I thought Darcy Cameron was standard. He could have played better, but McAndrew kept Darcy Cameron accountable. Darcy Cameron had very little to no impact at all from this game, and it showed. Only one intercept mark or defensive 50 mark, whatever. McAndrew was just, yeah, his height exposed Darcy Cameron. Maybe that's a weakness for Darcy Cameron. It's a weakness for us to work on. It's also a responsibility for our midfielders to read the tap. And we just couldn't read the tap at the centre ball ups. And Adelaide were able to kill us in the midfield, particularly that third quarter. But to summarise this game, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. We've pissed away 4 premiership points. A big opportunity to utilise the opening round bounce against Adelaide. And we blew it. We had it all and we blew it. I saw Justin Longmuir's comments about opening round and how we should be utilising it. And I agree with him 100%. And that's despite us having that advantage and we pissed it away. So we've got less than 100% with the percentage on the ladder. 1 win, 1 loss heading to the bye. We'll be probably around, we'll be in the wildcard mix or just outside the top 10. But we have the Giants next Friday night, 12 days away. No injuries to report on in the AFL or the VFL for that matter. So hopefully Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe are coming back from their injuries. Hopefully hopefully no fitness tests and they should be right and then they're not right for whatever reason. Reef McInnes in his final stages of rehab. Bobby Hill unavailable, but I'm still grateful we have one of the shortest, if not the shortest, injury lists so far. Hopefully, we can utilise that to our advantage against the Giants in round 3. I was going to say round 2. Next round's round 2. We got the bye. The Giants bounce back against St Kilda, hopefully, up there at Giants Stadium. And then we take on the Giants in a big, I would say 8-point game, but it's a massive game for us to get back on track for our season. The umpires were shocking. Number 22, I'll see you at Clifton Hill Macca's car park, 1v1. You dog.
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble.
But besides that, we bounce back, we move on. We don't let this ruin our weekends. If others give you shit about it, let me know. I'll fuck them up. That's all for this video. Any positives on your ends, negatives, players to come in, players to be dropped, just, yeah, whatever. It's a disappointing loss, but we move on. Let's not overreact, but you, do whatever you want. I'll leave you guys all to it. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Please be well, please be safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that is, during the bye week. Up the pies.